welcome to this thingy we're doing. We're doing some of our thoughts about E3, and we're beginning with the EA panel. I'm Luis, aka Sparnslav, and today we have...
It's your boy, Jim Surback.
And I'm Dr. Sparks.
Hello.
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 Hi. So, I am full of salt, vinegar, and spite and hatred.
Well, the cameraman was full of alcohol, I assume, with that wobbly camera he had going at the beginning.
Now he's dancing to the elevator porn music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe he's drunk and dancing to the elevator porn music.
Both.
Oh, that'll explain it. They
Risky.
got it under control, though. Like
Don't drink.
No, they got it. Yeah.
The actual panel was good. The beginning was a little off.
There's a few things off, but
Well, yeah.
let's just go straight down the list.
Games.
So, straight down the list, and as we go, Louis, you should just tell us what made you salty as we go.
Everything. I hate you.
Everything.
Just EA.
The fact that EA exists. Okay, well, now that we've cleared that up.
All right, done. Podcast over.
Good talk.
Come back next week, guys.
Okay, bye.
I actually have some specific things that maybe...
Well, I'm going to say that I personally super excited for Titanfall 2. Definitely looking like the best mech game series since Mech Warrior. So, since Mech Warrior doesn't exist anymore, I'm going to go ahead and plant that flag.
Yeah, and I don't really like, I never played Titanfall, but the fact that there's single player and a story, because I love story. I literally just play Halo, not just for the story, but that's a good majority of it. It looks great.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And being a sucker for science fiction, it really pulls me in, and I'm glad to know that we are going to be seeing something new. Still no word yet on if this is going to be, I guess, a prequel or a sequel to Titanfall, but given the fact that the Titans have giant freaking laser beams coming out of their chests, I'm going to say it's a sequel. And also the Titans look more mean. So they actually have, when I was looking at them, they kind of have a little bit of an aesthetic like Battletech or MechWarrior mechs. So I think it's going to be fantastic. Super excited for this single player, and the multiplayer looks way cool with the chain that you can throw out and like grab onto Titans or other players. That's doing it for me.
Yeah, they're so mean. One of them stole my lunch money.
Aw, poor Luis.
But the thing is, I gotta say, I only played Titanfall at a friend's house, but this one does look good. So, we'll see how that goes. And also, I am really glad they didn't just go like, yeah, well, fuck your opinions, customers, and ignore the campaign part, because that's pretty much what they did for the first Battlefront. But
Titanfall.
I think... No, I mean, well, Titanfall as well, but remember when they were making Battlefront, they were like, yeah...
Oh, okay. You're talking about Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah. I get Battlefront and
Yeah, that
Battlefield
too.
mixed up.
So-
If you don't say like Star Wars Battlefront, I think you're talking about Battlefield.
So yeah, I mean,
That's
I'm glad
get a bit
they...
confusing.
I'm glad they're now working on a single-player campaign for these games, because personally, I'm not a big multiplayer kind of guy. If I'm playing with my friends, fine, but I rarely play with randoms. So, adding a campaign really is a really good point,
Oh yeah, and they have swords, which looks awesome.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Is that this will be the first time that we see Titans wielding like melee weapons. So, again, just looking like an excellent addition to the series all around. And I can't wait until October 28th. I mean, that'll at least keep me entertained until the next science fiction series that I care about comes out, which we'll discuss after Madden.
Yeah, Madden. They barely talked about Titanfall. I was not happy about that. And they're like, I'm back to Denver. And then I got really confused. But then it's like all this football. They talked for like 5-10 minutes about Madden.
They went on and on about Madden.
God.
They give you just the tip of Titanfall, and then the rest of it's just shaft of Madden.
Just-
Hey. It was maddening.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit maddening, that's for sure. So, yeah. I feel like the Madden as like a franchise is slowly but surely dying out. So they're trying to keep it interesting by introducing this like tournament system. So I think that'll be cool as far as like public events go, but as a franchise, I'm not really sold on Madden. I mean, I've never owned a Madden game, and this one's not changing my mind.
Nah, same. I like watching football. I just don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I feel like most sports games are really sort of boring. Like they don't change much, from one iteration to another. This one, it seems like they're gonna try something new with sort of as Jim put it, sort of a biographical career mode or something.
That was FIFA.
That's FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
Which we're gonna discuss.
Well, see, I know jack shit about sports games, but
Cool.
yeah, I feel like they should try to like innovate a bit more because releasing the same sports game every year, it's just.
Well, that's like football. It's like it's the same sport, but you have different people and a different like kind of thing. But I understand the allure of sports games to sports fans, but to people who don't care about sports, it's not going to change our minds.
Well, the thing about it is like I love football. We're talking about American football here. I love American football.
Yes.
But the thing is like the differences between Madden, say 15 and 16, or even like Madden 16 and Madden 2010. Besides the graphics, it's not wildly different because you can make custom characters. So you could play an old Madden game and go in and create custom characters based on the public statistics of the current roster of NFL players and have more or less the same game. I mean, you probably won't get the same franchise mode and stuff like that. So it's like, this is essentially just a cash cow for them. There's probably not a whole lot of iteration, so they're throwing out the tournament thing to try to make people go, oh, look, there's stuff happening with Madden, and try to keep it relevant. But I think the reality is that aside from FIFA, I think that sports games in general are going to see they're already on the downturn, I think, but we're going to see that really dip low over as time goes on here.
Be around because people still care about them, but
sure, it's going to get to a point where it's like a cult following kind of thing. But
yeah.
So, but moving on from that, since there's not really much to say about that, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Woohoo!
Oh, so excited. So excited.
That does look good.
It looks amazing. I mean, I'm glad that we've got...
So sexy. Holy mackerel.
You're talking about the Tempest, the skinny one, right?
I have no idea what its name, but it's the one that just shot into the atmosphere, and I'm like, wow, that's sexy.
I'm making the assumption it's called the Tempest since the side of the ship says Tempest, and in the original Mass Effect trilogy, the side of Shepard's flagship said Normandy, and it was a very similar design. It had the same font on the side of the ship, so we're looking at
names of ships are on the sides of ships, so it's a pretty good assumption to make.
Right, but I'm just saying, like in the Mass Effect series specifically, they're smartass.
Maybe that was just vandalism.
Whoa,
that's the greatest.
That sexy of a ship. Ah. Shame.
It really adds to the character of the ship. Awesome. Anyway, Andromeda.
Yeah,
I like the backstory of that. That was a random tangent.
Yeah, well, the thing that, so aside from this new ship, where I'm going to tentatively call the Tempest, it definitely looks like a newer model Normandy, because it's a much thinner ship than the Normandy was, either versions of the Normandy. And so, which makes me kind of think that this is, in fact, a game set after the original trilogy. Because there's a trailer that came out earlier this year, and it was a lady talking throughout the trailer. And at the end, she says, "This is Commander Shepard signing off," as it shows the big ship leaving the galaxy. So my thought process was, the Andromeda ship that goes to the Andromeda galaxy was launched before the conclusion of Mass Effect 3. At some point during that time, it was built and this whole expedition was planned. So, but seeing how that ship looks, it looks significantly more advanced. I mean, to get that same level of stealth technology built into a smaller vessel I would imagine, would take much more advanced technology. So, on and on about the ships because I love ships. And this might not be relevant to either of you. I don't know how much y'all played the Mass Effect trilogy. I don't think Sparks really played it at all. What about you, Luis?
No.
I know very little about it.
Okay, well, there is one creature in there in the trailer that looks like the same species as the enigmatic Shadow Broker, which you get in one of the DLCs. So
of course, yes.
that was well. The DLCs for Mass Effect are really good, and none of them are genuinely required. So you can get away with playing Mass Effect and completely enjoy the game. Biotics look cool. That's coming back. The Mako is coming back, and it looks pretty cool. And then we have, for the first time, I haven't seen this in any of the Mass Effect games, we have an Asari that had like the black eye paint going across her face. So she's a different type of Asari. But right at the end, there was the tip of a blade that kind of came into the frame of the picture. So she's in some sort of trouble, I would imagine.
Oh.
And
she was smiling, and so...
Yeah, she was smiling, and then right at the end, like the blade kind of comes in at the edge of the screen, and she kind of looks to the left and gets a little bit of a concerned look on her face, and then it cuts to something else.
Miss that.
Yeah, the Frostbite engine, though, holy shit, looks amazing.
They keep talking about that, and for some reason, I got the feeling it was a VR, because they're like, you get the chance to, like, experience and feel, and I'm like, is that VR? That'd be awesome.
Well... I guess we're gonna bring that up because it's one of the Star Wars Battlefront things. So hold on to that idea for like 4 minutes because I feel like we're gonna cover these next couple sections real quick. So yeah, Frostbite looks great. So let's get into FIFA 17. I mean, nothing really interesting here except that now they have managers in the game and there is a biographical campaign mode for Alex Hunter.
Is Alex Hunter a real person? I don't follow soccer that much.
That was him talking on stage.
Well, yeah, but maybe it's like, oh, they got this act, and it's the likeness of him in the game. I didn't know he was an actual player.
I mean, I'm making the assumption that he is. I mean, he looks like it.
I wouldn't know anything about soccer. Football.
Alex Hunter, right?
Football.
Let's go to Google.
Google.
Gavin
or Gaggle.
I'm sure, like, the Googles for Alex Hunter are gonna, like, skyrocket. It may be Alex Turner. Was it Turner or Hunter?
Hunter.
Okay.
So I found something from Wikipedia. Alex Hunter, born 1895 and died in 1984, was a Scottish professional footballer who played for Renfrew Juniors, Queen's Park, Tottenham Hotspur, Wigan Borough, and New Bedford Whalers. So I guess it was an actor, maybe? Who looks like him? I don't know.
Was that the only thing you found?
It was the first one I clicked.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently, well, no, there's another one who died at the age of 115. Yeah. I think that is the one.
I actually don't think he's an actual character. I think they based the character on the person you found, because the guy who was at the end, he actually, I think he was a FIFA player, like the game FIFA, like the video game, and then they made him into a soccer player in the game. So I'm not sure if that was kind of like the whole thing. So as he was talking about in the beginning of he would play with his mates, and then he would play like the video game. Now he's in the game.
Oh,
okay.
So I think it's just a character, because it's not an actual story. Like, I don't think that there's been a story of like this kid. We could ask Tyler. I don't know. Like, Tyler would probably know better than us about British football.
He's definitely British, that's for sure. So Tyler would be the one to go to.
British. Holy mackerel. But I think it's just a character.
So speaking of other characters, Fee.
Oh my god, it looks so pretty.
Get it? Because
Iron, right?
Haha. The irony of this situation is hilarious.
Nice one.
Thanks.
That part about the presentation, it seemed like it could be an interesting game. I'm not sure if it would be something that I would jump at, like, oh my god, I need to play this. But then again, maybe it's because it's just not really the style I usually go for. But it does look like it could be pretty. You know, it seems like one of those very artistic games.
And musical.
Very musical. It just saddens me a bit because EA is like, I forgot the name they gave for that, but it's like an
Originals.
initiative they have. Yeah, EA Originals, in which they will approach small studios and small developers to help them make their games and all that.
Hey kids, you want to sell your soul?
Yeah, pretty
Right.
much.
You want to make
Hey
it in the
kids, you
big
wanna
boy league?
smoke some meth and sell your soul? I got just the thing for ya.
I don't know how they're going to take all the profits and then give it back to the developers. I wonder if what they're going to do is like foot the bill to help develop the game, and then when they sell a game, anything that doesn't cover EA's investment for the development, if they take those profits and give it back to the developer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but EA doesn't seem the charitable type.
No.
I think they're trying to re-image their company. I mean, given what was the guy on stage said that, EA loves charities, and because of that, and they talked about doing charitable stuff.
Yeah.
And Galaxy of Heroes, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is doing, their charitable thing, which when I woke up this morning, my game head was like, hey, play as the ladies and beat the bad guys, and I was like, all right, and so I did that and got some cool
Dang,
stuff.
how charitable.
Yeah, right. I don't know what that does, but
Why aren't we in there normally?
I don't know. So I played my one battle, and I hope that did something for a charity. I guess I don't know. So I don't know how Originals is gonna work, but for Fee does look like it'll be a musical. But if I may make a terrible pun, it doesn't look like it's gonna strike a chord with me.
Hey!
So it also looks like one of these like Save the Earth games. Don't hurt the animals. So this looks like it might be something that's like backed by PETA, which also does not do anything for me.
Okay, if I find this is backed by PETA, my opinions will totally shift.
I don't think PETA has anything to do with that
Probably not.
per se, but maybe. I mean,
Yeah, I doubt it,
It does
but-
seem like they're going for sort of an environmentalist
Yeah.
message about.
Yeah, I
you know.
definitely got the feeling where when the silence was coming in, and I made the joke of the silence has fallen. But you guys aren't gonna get that.
Yeah. No.
So when the silence was coming, I definitely got a Fern Gully feel. I don't know, Luis, have you ever watched Fern Gully?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Jim, did you watch?
Oh yeah. I need to rewatch. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I need to rewatch it, but it was one of those really great movies. And I think looking back on it, it's been a long time since I've seen it. It's probably one of those movies that was like much more serious than I thought it was.
Oh my gosh, it totally is.
To feed into that, which is like everything in the game, everything we see is like they're little like fox-like avatars and birds and all the plants, and then the silence is coming and they're humanoid.
Yeah,
They're not
Yeah,
humans, but
they look like big daddies.
yeah, right.
they do.
Which is something that some games are really in your face about the message they're trying to convey, and some of them like manage to pass the message, but in a more subtle way. And speaking of like sort of environment stuff and the dangers of exploring nature too much, I remember that Oddworld has sort of this thing about like the advance of industries and hunting animals to extinction and all that. But the way they deliver the message is way more subtle. It's not like, hey, you see, stop doing things that hurt animals. But there's a whole thing that eventually you get the point. Oh, right. This one seems really in your face about it. So that's
Gotcha.
one of the things that it's not really the sort of game I would jump at the opportunity to play it.
Well, this is going to take up the next 20 minutes of our time, so let's talk about the Star Wars games.
Oh boy,
Oh boy.
can we talk about Tor way more than they did?
Yeah, right?
If we
Can we-
even if
please?
we talk about it for like 30 seconds, it's way more than they did.
The only thing that caught me is that they really like glossed over the Old Republic, and the only thing that we saw was a scene of the Jedi Knight class fighting against Arkin, who's the current big bad guy. Like, we know that encounter's coming, so that's nothing new. And they're like, we're going to release new content for the rest of the year. And it's like, well, meh. So none of it really meant anything to me, except for this one kind of like throwaway line that they kind of threw in there, which was like, they said, more eras to discover beyond the Old Republic. So my fear is that the Old Republic will, sometime in the next year or two, end as a game, and they will go somewhere else. I assume something closer to the time frame of the movies, which would,
KOTOR.
well, I mean, the Old Republic is. Well, I'll say the Old Republic is kind of the continuation of Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, well, but I wouldn't mind a prequel to the Old Republic.
Prequel to the Old Republic, which is a prequel to the prequels, which is yeah, wow.
Yeah, no.
I heard you like prequels.
Well, the thing is that before the Old Republic came out, and they still have these videos online, they had a whole like little mini series that explains the pretty much since the end of Knights of the Old Republic 2, there's pretty well like peace in the Republic. The Jedi kind of get complacent, and then out of nowhere, the Sith show up and start kicking face. And I think it's like they have a war. Basically, they call it the Great Galactic War, and it lasts for something like 40 or 50 years. So, and when there's a peace treaty finally signed, that's where we pick up in the Old Republic game. So we kind of know what happens already before the Old Republic. So I don't see that we need a prequel to the Old Republic. I would like to see something that's closer to the movies, like maybe 1,000 years before the movies. Like what happens before, because it is George Lucas who said in episode 1 or 2, I think episode 1 or 2 is like production things, like one of the bonus scenes, that what we see is if we had 1,000 years of peace, this is the golden age of the Jedi, and that age is coming to an end. And so in the novels and the Legends novels now, we have the story of Darth Bane and the Rule of Two. But if they're going to rewrite that story, I would like to see a game that explains that.
Oh, okay. So this like playing the game of the story of Darth Bane.
Darth Bane is obviously somebody who exists because he was in Clone Wars. He was in the last episode of the Clone Wars. So we know it's a character that's real.
Snoke.
Yeah, right. My thought process. So that's all Old Republic, I guess, and so that would be where I would like to see the story go. I would like to see, since Respawn is doing one of the games, I would like to see what they're going to do. Because they said it's going to be a third-person adventure game, and in their little 2-minute clip, they had guys in mocap suits who were battling with lightsabers.
That was really cool looking, because the mocap suits did not look like the normal mocap suits like Rooster Teeth does, but they were like cool and like sci-fi looking. They had like lines down the back. I don't know
like
what that was.
Tron.
Yeah, it looked really cool. And then they added the rotoscoping in the like real life. It was odd because it was like the guys fighting with lightsabers. I'm like, are those real lightsabers? Because there was like the glow of the face, like the guy's face watching them, and I was like, what?
They said it was going to be set in a new era. Like that, they said for the Respawn guys, they were talking about, this is going to be set in a new era. So I'm hoping that we're going to see something like The Force Awakens, or The Force Unleashed. Not The Force Awakens, Force Unleashed, which is maybe between episode 6 and 7, though I'm sure that Disney is going to put a lot of novels in there. Or maybe, again, something that's in that 1,000 years before the movies. So I would like to see that. I think The Force Unleashed as an idea of being that super powerful Jedi or Sith character could really thrive well in that time frame.
I just really hope they start releasing more single-player games or games that have single-player elements to them in the Star Wars universe.
Something that's got some really excellent story to it. I'm with you.
Oh, yeah.
And Visceral Games, they only had like 2 little short snippets of early gameplay footage, like pre-release footage, of the in-game engine, it looked like. And looks super excellent. Set during the Empire era, so I'm assuming it's Rise of the Empire era, because the guy walks out into something that looks vaguely like a town in Tatooine, almost like Mos Eisley or something like that, or Anchorhead, and there's the Imperial flags and the insignias are hanging on the stonework of the buildings, but there's a Star Destroyer in the background, so Empire era, obviously, that I'm sure Visceral will do a great job of that.
I got a weird boner. I mean,
well, that's relevant.
I like what I saw, but I'm afraid of the DLC, so, weird boner.
You got a fear boner of like...
Fear boner.
Basically, it's like, it looks great, but I don't know.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Gotcha.
All right. So, Battlefield 1, did anybody have any care about that?
I have a rant about it, but I'll save for the rant part.
Well, okay, does the rant involve watching the trailer twice?
That and the music they chose.
Oh, yeah, it was odd. I kind of want to know, like, if you got a World War I vet, they're all dead now, but if this game had come out when they were still alive and showed it to them, like, that was nothing like the war.
No, that just didn't have. What about his music?
Yeah, what about the music? It's like, the fuck is this shit?
But Grandpa, Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Come on, 380 no scope. You got that right? 360.
360 no scope. What's a 380?
I don't know.
Breaking physics.
It's how they used to roll back in World War One.
It's not breaking physics because you can do a 380 no scope. It's just not as impressive because it looks like a 360 no scope. It's just 20 degrees more.
Oh.
Right, but it's only 360 degrees in a circle. I mean, once you hit 360 degrees, you're back at 0.
Well, why
so is it a 20 degrees no scope?
Why is there a 720 no scope?
Guys, there was no physics back in
720?
the past.
Yeah, 2 circles.
I would call that a double 360 no scope.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus, Jim.
It's easier to say 720.
But 720 is like a resolution, 720p. Like, that's...
Nah.
I made a
4K
mistake.
no scope or not.
Yes, you did.
Whatever.
I didn't care anything about the Battlefield 1 thing. Like, they called the Zeppelins behemoths, and I was like, those already have a name. Why are we renaming them? So,
Yeah.
What if they were named like some people probably called them behemoths back then?
I mean, dirigibles?
Dirigibles,
Nah.
Zeppelins.
Or maybe they just
Blimps.
the guy just forgot the name. Like
Probably.
these the big
The behemoths.
Behemoth. Yes.
And he said
Behemoths are
airship
big.
later.
Yeah, so
Yeah. All right, so rant time. Rants.
Rants. Anyway, gotta keep the tradition, Jim. So, starting with Battlefield, man, that fucking music. What the fuck is wrong with games these days that even if it's based in the past, they gotta put these edgy sort of dubstep remix on things.
Because the Great War was edgy, Luis, and this is the music we have for edgy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely Abrams'd it where it was like in the background.
Yes.
So you got the foghorn.
It's I remember like first Medal of Honor games, and it was just sort of classical music. It wasn't like these
Yeah,
and
bring
like
that back to 1812
random
Overture
phrases.
with the cannons and shit.
Yeah.
They actually had like legit cannons inside the theater.
Oh right.
Yeah, that one.
Probably not good for hearing.
No.
Hey, come on.
Who cares
Real
about that?
cannons
makes
are
for
nothing.
epic
Don't be a
classical.
bitch, Jim.
Ain't no bitch.
But yeah, like they remix and another thing, why remake Seven Nation Army? It's a good song by itself, you know.
That remix was done many years ago. I heard it.
I know, but
and I like that
still.
remix, actually. I like it more than the first one. Yeah.
Did not recognize it.
See, that's exactly why I'm complaining. You can barely recognize the song.
Well, I recognized it because I listen to dubstep, and I like dubstep, and that version,
Fight,
I think, is better than the original. I will fight you, okay? Because you're Brazilian and not American. I'll fight anybody by anything.
Right.
So I had a beef of the music, and they kept the thing that I complained about earlier. They kept calling DLC as game updates, as if that was a good thing. It's not. Pay DLC all the fucking time is not a good thing.
It is a moneymaker, though, and you gotta have money to stay in business.
Yeah, well.
My only thing about...
kind of does it in a way that makes you feel dirty.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, well, my thing is that I can understand microtransactions. I think that that's fine, as long as it's not something that's, like, required. Like, I don't like the idea of pay to win. Like, I like Halo's microtransaction thing, where
I love those.
it's totally optional. And I'm not gonna lie, I've bought a few gold packs because
I have not.
I just wanted to. I was like, I just want to unlock some stuff. So but it's not required. Like, I didn't need to buy gold packs to get anywhere in the game. It doesn't, aside from unlocking some cosmetic shit, it doesn't actually do anything. So I'm okay with microtransactions and DLC that's not required. I mean, I think my best examples for DLC are BioWare in the way that they do it in their games. Like the entire Mass Effect trilogy has DLC that you can buy and play, and it adds to the story, but it's not required for the story. Maybe you can make an argument for the last piece of DLC that came out for Mass Effect 3. It's called The Citadel, which is a very heartfelt send off for all of the characters and the entire group that you've played with over the 3 games. So I could see you making an argument where that should have been as part of the core game, but it doesn't. You don't get anything into the actual main game aside from just interesting moments of contact with your characters. So I can understand the whole DLC thing where it gets frustrating. I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, I think Star Wars Battlefront's DLC is not great.
There's an example of DLC that's like in the game, Assassin's Creed. I don't know. I think it's 2 or it's one of the ones that I actually played. But basically, it goes from like memory 11 to like 14, and I was like, "Where's 12 and 13?" And apparently, I have to pay for those. I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting." So it's like cut out 2 pieces of the game because they wanted to make them paid. Because I guess they're not.
It's like Bonfire
essential?
Vanities and something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that one. It was very odd.
So don't do that, game developers. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
All right, so is that it? Any other thoughts?
Well, I thought they went on too much about Madden and not enough about Titanfall, because that was very
Agreed.
abrupt change. Holy mackerel. They're like, Titanfall, and then on to Denver. Not even a break of them talking in the middle. It was like, that was kind of frustrating to me, because it was like, I had to like...
There's no gear switch, you know?
Oh, no, absolutely not. So I wanted somebody to like introduce, and now we're talking about Madden. Thanks. Now I can stop thinking about Titanfall.
It's sort of what Jim stated in the chat, I guess. I agree that maybe they do this to keep to maintain people's attention, because sports games don't really have that much of a following anymore.
Yeah, I know.
It's yeah. I mean, that's what I said. Is that I assume, and this is EA's done this before, where they will lead with one, and Microsoft does it too. They'll lead with one franchise that they know people are excited to hear about, and immediately go into another franchise with no cut in between that to let you know that it's changing subjects, because they've got everyone's attention for the exciting franchise. And then they go into the next franchise, and they still have everyone's attention. It's kind of almost like a captive audience at that point. So that's why they kind of do that. It seems like an underhanded tactic in a sense, like you're kind of pulling a bait and switch on us, but it's just trailers, so it's not like it's a big deal. But this just feeds into my theory that sports games are on the decline. That's it? Questions, concerns, thoughts?
I guess so.
Did you ever rant, Jim?
Nope. I mean, I'm excited for BioWare and Respawn. I actually don't think that EA's, at least for the games I play, EA's screwing it up too much. I mean, the games that I don't play, the games like Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, for what it's an alright game, but it's not $60 good. I'm kind of upset I paid $60 for it, and I'm not going to give them any more money. So I'm not buying any of their DLC. And I don't play the game anymore. So, it's like I'm done at this point with Battlefront. But I love Mass Effect and I love Titanfall, so I'm going to give them a shot. I mean, no developers or publisher is 100% perfect 100% of the time. So, I'm going to be happy what I'm happy for, and we'll see where it goes.
All right. Yeah, I might actually play like Andromeda, so I might actually pick that up. Because I don't think you need to play Mass Effect to understand Andromeda.
It's completely separate. I mean, I think there'll probably be like little nods and things in Andromeda that points towards the original trilogy. But if it is indeed a whole new cast of characters, then I don't see where, aside from some cursory relationships, that you need to know anything about what's happening.
So it's like a Star Wars 7 kind of deal, like reiterating the franchise. Sorry, Luis, I see you trying to talk.
That's all right. My point is pretty much what you guys are saying, is that it doesn't seem like they're trying to pull the bait and switch with Andromeda. Because even though I know very little about Mass Effect, it seems like they're not advertising it as like, oh, look, now you can find out something about Shepard, and oh, snap, new generation. It's just like, it's the same universe, other people, deal with it, It seems like it's standing on its own pretty much.
Yeah, it's a side story. I think that might be because BioWare very much controls their franchises. EA is their publisher, but BioWare is the developer, they're the story writers, they're the animators, they're the composers. They control their franchises. That's why every BioWare game is an excellent game. So
even though they're owned by EA.
they're not owned by EA. They're just published by EA.
Published. Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm sort of excited. What's the expression we use nowadays? Cautiously optimistic with the Star Wars games. I want to see where that one goes. I hope you can like play random maps with bots like you could do with Battlefront 1 and 2 for Battlefront. And well, let's see what these new games are. And hopefully there won't be a bunch of vital for the story DLC. One can only hope.
One can hope.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We're wrapping up, guys. So thanks for listening, and we'll be doing this kind of stuff all week. So we're going to be doing Bethesda, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sony, all of them. So, okay, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.